So hello dear students. Today with me we have Dr. Zulfikar Haider. He's a faculty in that Manchester Metropolitan University. So we are interacting just to help you to find out basically, suppose you want to prepare and go abroad for MS or PhD program. So what you should be doing at this moment. So thank you for agreeing to basically give this session. So I will introduce Physics Wallah is basically is a movement in India just to help the poor students so that they are ready for competitive examination at a much cheaper price. So it's a movement created by Al-Khandiji. So thousands and millions of students are getting benefited by these things. So I want to ask you, in India there are many students after BTech they go for MS program. Many students go to US, Singapore and Europe. So at Manchester Metropolitan University, basically what students should do during their BTech to come here?
Thank you. My name is Zulfikar Haider, as you have introduced. I'm a faculty in the Link Department in the School of Engineering. So basically what we are looking for as a MSc student, that they have got a good basic degree in engineering. Our MSc program is quite sort of like open, not just for mechanical students, but at the same time other disciplines as well. For example, we have got students from civil engineering, students from chemical engineering. So there is a general MSc degree like engineering project management. So that kind of degree, from any discipline, anybody can do that. So some degrees are like MSc degrees are core, that you need some core mechanical engineering skills, but some degrees are like not that core engineering degrees. So all you need to do is just to get a good grade in your undergraduate level,
something like
BTech or undergraduate level. And the other thing is needs to be good at English. So when you are in your third year or final year, you start preparing for your IELTS exam. So the IELTS is the main.
How much score is required minimum for IELTS?
Minimum depends on universities. I mean, some minimum 6. Okay. But 6.5 is better, because some universities they will take 6.5, but you can't actually, individual score should not really go less than 6. Okay. But that's why it takes some time. So you can't sort of like finish your degree and then prepare for your IELTS exam. That's a wrong idea. So you need to be prepared from third year or your fourth year or your final year. So and then it takes time. So if you start sort of like preparing for that and then appear at your IELTS exam and get a good score, and the second thing is obviously the financial ability. So there are lots of universities, lots of different types of degrees. The tuition fee actually varies. It's not that there is a fixed tuition fee in every university in the UK.
How much is the tuition fee approximately?
I can't sort of like tell you that at the moment, because even in it varies from one degree to another degree. It's not like sort of like a fixed amount. But I would say for example, from 15,000 to 20,000 pound within that range.
15,000, 20,000 pound.
Yeah.
For the complete year.
For the complete year. So here in the UK, the MSc degree is only 1 year. So you start in September and you finish in September. But in some degrees, they have also got like, you can start from January as well. So you start in January, you finish in January.
Here that facility is not there, January to January.
No, there is facility over here. We're going to start our January intake. I mean, we used to start in, you take January intake, but sometimes we had to sort of like reshuffle things, and we're introducing that again in the near future to intake in January. But in other degrees, not just sort of like engineering degrees, in other MSc, they have also got January intake and September intake. So whichever you want to take. Sometimes what happens that you are preparing for September intake, and for some reason your visa get delayed or some other financial issues or any other, or your IELTS results didn't come. For those delays, instead of waiting for the next September, you can start in January, so that you can save some time. So yeah, so that's basically the two things. One is a good degree, and then you're confident that you have got a good degree and you can kind of like study at the next level. and the second thing is
Good
good English.
Okay.
And
Third is finance.
Third is obviously the finance, and particularly in the English, the writing skill needs to be very good, and also sometimes the listening skill as well, because sometimes the students come from Indian subcontinent and they come here, probably they find it a bit difficult to understand the accent,
so they have to see, I think, good English movies also.
Good English movies, and probably the BBC News. That's the most important one.
One question I want to ask, basically, at this Manchester, for 1 year, how much a student generally spend for living expenses?
Yes, that's a good question. The living, I mean, compared to what is happening around the world, the living expenses has increased. So we have got accommodations here for the student accommodations, like both private and the university accommodations. So university accommodations are limited and a bit expensive as well. So most of the students, they go to like private accommodations. So in the private accommodations, what they do, they like say 3-4 people, they sort of group together and stay in one house. So in that case, I think the housing cost is the main cost. So that cost can be sort of like significantly reduced if you share accommodation with other people. But there are accommodation like proper student accommodation where you can
like student hostels
kind of thing. So you have got your own room, but you are sharing kitchen and toilets, or sometimes you have got an ensuite room and then you are sharing only kitchen with other people.
So maybe 5,000-6,000 pounds annually.
Little bit more. I would say accommodation cost would be, probably around 400 to 500, and then probably
food
and transportation. I think those are the two main costs. So food cost, from our subcontinent people, it's not a big issue, because if somebody is cooking at home, or even the food cost, the ready-made food cost is not really that high. But the transportation is probably another.
Transportation is a bit expensive in UK.
Expensive. If you take bus, I think probably roughly around £80
to London from here.
From here to London, probably return ticket would be around that, 80 to 100 pounds. But I'm talking about like within the city. If you want to, you need to travel from where you are actually living to come to the university. So you need to the concession price for the students. So I would say probably around £60 per month. So I would say 300-400 for the accommodation, maybe another couple of £100 for food, and then maybe another £100 for the.
So maybe 800 or 900
Yeah,
pounds
that should be monthly. So I would say maybe around roughly £10,000 would be.
So total 30,000 pounds whole course.
Whole course, yeah. So, but the students can do work. That's what probably you need to remember. That most of the students, what they do, they don't do full-time work, but they do part-time work, because the MSc degrees or the degrees are arranged in a way that you don't need to come to the university like every day. So in some courses that you condense that to in 2 days or 3 days. So the students are free in the other 2 days of the week. So that means during the weekends they get 2 days, and then the weekdays they get another 2 days. So that sometimes would be enough to do even a full-time job. So I think the students can quite easily manage themselves, their living cost, by doing the work here, like as a part-time job.
So they don't have to borrow anything from their parents?
Possibly. But as a security, little bit. But I would say for the first few months until you get the job. But once you get a part-time job, then I think it will be quite easy to accommodate yourself for the living cost.
Actually, one question I have: what are the opportunities after this MS program here?
Okay. So the opportunity for the MS program in the UK currently is quite huge. So in the MS program, there is an option for industrial placement. For example, you finish your masters in 1 year, and then within your student visa, it is already there that you can work in a industry as it is a full-time employee, but as a graduate student. So that means you can take a placement for 1 year, and then that is included within your student visa.
Okay.
So that means, so that is 2 years. And then after finishing your degree, you can get another 2 years to work here.
Okay.
And then, as I said, I mean, that is like a working visa. So you can do work in anywhere. You can leave your job from one company and then go to another company. There is no restriction in there. So that means you can work here for 2 years. And within that 2 years, whatever money that you have actually spent for the tuition fee. So part, I mean, I'm not saying that whether you will get the full return, but I would say at least a significant percentage of your tuition fee you can kind of like generate by working here. So that's the big advantage, because I have seen in the past that I don't know, have you got the student loan system there?
We have a student loan system.
In India. So that means the student take loans and then they come here, finish their study, and then they work here for 2 years. Either even with like casual work, not a sort of like a full-time job in a proper professional job. Even with a casual job, they can easily manage sort of like
to partly pay off that loan.
So that's a huge advantage. So that means at the end, but if you do a professional job, then probably you can easily generate that amount of tuition fee that you have spent to come to the UK.
Okay.
So that is a huge plus. That means after 1 year you finish your degree and then you work 2 years, and then you pay your tuition fee back to that loan that you have taken. So in the process, you have got your a kind of like a free degree. So that's what probably people are actually looking for. That they have got some student loan, they have got some people got some funding from their parents, and then they finish their study and then kind of like move on to the jobs. But that's not the end of it, because once you finish your MSc, then there is other opportunities, like you can apply for scholarship for doing PhD. Let's say you have done very well in the MSc, and you can apply for scholarships, PhD scholarship.
During MS, scholarships are not available?
There are some scholarships available, but not the full scholarships, because some universities they give like, say for example, the tuition fee is like £18,000, and so let's say if there is some agreement, that's what I was talking about earlier, that there is an MOU with your university and students are coming here, then they will get some sort of like reduced tuition fee. For example, the normal tuition fee is £18,000, they will get 15,000, like £2,000-3,000 less. So that's another advantage. But also, other than that, there are some other scholarship as well, but those would be more competitive. Like you have to compete with all the students within the university. For example, we have got like say 10 students a scholarship, and so the tuition fee would be reduced by say £5,000, and then you have already applied here, and then if you get this reduction of £5,000, that would be quite significant amount. But you need to compete that. It is a competitive process. And then the university will look at all the MSc students, not just sort of like within a particular department. But sometimes even within the department there are some scholarships as well. And then those scholarships are given in the form of a reduction in the fees. Not like the full tuition fee. Generally MSc doesn't really have the full tuition fees reduction.
One question I want to ask you, like for example, you as a faculty, you want to take PhD students. What criteria generally you follow to take somebody as your student for PhD program?
For the PhD program, I would say, while if you are doing MSc back in India, then you really need to do some research work. So you need to know the basic how to do a research. So that's the thing you need to learn. Once you, because India, probably there will be some universities where the focus is more on the sort of like studying rather than doing research. But I can see there are lots of universities where even the undergraduate students, they are quite involved with the research. Then they're even publishing papers even when they are in their third year or fourth year undergraduate study. So you need to keep up with that. That okay, you have done some research, probably have published one or two papers in the undergraduate level, and then when you come to the MSc, so you need to hone your skill, that research skill, because PhD is about the research.
Yeah.
So the PhD supervisor want to know that okay, do you have got the basic research skill, how to do a research. Then obviously you have got your background in a particular subject area, but other than that, you know the research process. Do you know that? I mean, that's what probably you need to learn. And this publication process, once you have got good publications in good quality journals, then obviously that testifies that okay, you know the research process and you know how to do the research, you know how to do the publications. So when it comes to this competition, because it's not that the students from India is going to apply for the PhD scholarship. The students from all around the world, they are going to apply for this PhD scholarship, because this is open to sort of like anybody in the world. So that's a huge competition. So if you want to go ahead and go into this competition, the first thing that you need to know very good English level, because sometimes the writing of the research is not
statement of purpose.
The statement of purpose. I mean, I think probably those are okay, but I'm talking about when you're going to publish paper, the quality of the English that needs to be improved. So that means somebody, if I'm looking at your PhD application, if I see that what papers you have published, and then I can go through that, and then I can see that the quality of the language, quality of the English or technical quality is very good, then I can see that okay, yes, you have got good skills in there. Because eventually, if you want to publish in good journals, you need to have that writing, very good writing skills. And then, so if you have that publications under your belt, then you are in the competition, because lots of people are going to apply for those scholarships. And then, so obviously, one good indicator would be that how many publications do you have, and what is the subject area? Is the subject area is same as the subject area the supervisor is looking for? And what are the technical skills that you have learned? What are the practical skills that you have learned? What equipment or characterization equipment you have used? So those things would be very, very important, because whoever applying for PhD, everybody has got that basic knowledge in that subject area. But the edge for a particular student would be that okay, how good he is in the research and in the publication process, because the supervisor should want the student to drive the research, the PhD project, not the sort of like supervisor is actually doing the PhD. So that means minimum supervision. That's what the supervisor will look for, that okay, this student can work on the project without significant supervision. So he can drive the project, and he can publish, as he has already got the publishing experience. So he can drive the research, do the publication, and complete his projects. That's what probably the supervisor would look for.
So last question I would like to ask you, that what is the student life here at Manchester?
You mean social life?
Social life?
I think the social life is quite good, particularly in big cities in the UK. Manchester is the second largest city in the UK.
I see, after London.
After London.
I see.
So the social life is quite good here. I mean, lots of activities that you can do.
So students are not in the depression and all that.
No,
what is going to happen?
I don't think. And there is a huge Asian community here as well. So because sometimes, and then huge Asian community within the university and also outside the university as well. So in terms of some people. I'm not sure that whether the food habit is another important thing. That can I get the similar kind of food that we eat back in India? Can we get that? So it's almost like everything, whatever you don't get over there, you can get it here. So it's varieties of things you can get. Even within the university, there are lots of activities you can do. And then even there are different groups. The university supports the diversity as well. So there are lots of cultural programs, and there are different groups as well within the university. So I think there is already a network within the university.
Okay.
So socially, I don't see any
So people
any issue.
enjoy here, all the
Yeah, the
students.
people will enjoy here.
There is no too much pressure on the studies and all.
No, and obviously, if they can talk to other students as well, how if they need any help, and then it's not just only that. Those are sort of like informal things that they when I was a student, I came to this country, and then I was looking for is there somebody from my country? Then I can talk to them freely. I can learn things from them. That is like informal things, but formally within the university there is support as well.
Okay.
That if you have got any issue, anything that you don't understand, so there will be lots of student support to get them sort of like used to with this environment here. And I know that there's a big cultural shock here as well. That there is a different culture here. But I think if the students need any support, the university has got all the support to help them to get on with their studies.
Okay. So we thank Professor Zulfikar Haider for spending time with us. Sir, we will be in contact with you if any student require any support.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.